Go ahead and find a seat. Let's kick off. We have two more people coming, but we ask introductions we want to make and want to get down that path already if we can. So my name is Paul Martin. I'm with 10 Capital. I want to thank everybody for joining us again today. We've had this event last February, and we're glad to see a lot of the same people coming out and new faces as well here in the room. We're going to kick off with our agenda here. We are going to have welcomes and introductions for 2:30 to 3, and then we're going to kick off with two presentations. We're then going to have a moment, if everybody's got a mobile phone, we're going to get feedback from you on what you would like to follow up with Renerva and Buddi. So we'll be back in touch with you at that time to get your feedback on it. We're going to take a 15-minute coffee break, and then when we get back, we're going to have two more companies pitch, and then take a feedback moment. And then we're going to have a virtual presentation on from Alex Wong, a focal point on how to launch or raise money through a SPAC. These are now coming back. We're seeing a lot of companies go back and looking at this. Alternative investors are coming back. And so we learned, I think, a lot from the first round. And now we're seeing it come back again because alternative investments are doing very well these days. Then we'll have some closing remarks. And then we'll all go to the gastro bar right corner for a happy hour. So with that, let's go and click into it. Let's talk a little about 10 Capital and what we do. At heart, we help startups and investors connect for funding. So we work in a lot of different ways up there. We help with fundraising preparation. We now build diligence reports. We build 10 analyst reports, making heavy use of AI analytics for this process. So we're getting a lot into doing things like deep tech commercialization maps and others. Well, we also have online pitches, in-person events like this one, and then we also help with closing with follow-ups with the investors as well. So this is a 10 Capital team. There's about 10 of us, but these are the main people that we work with here. We have Raquel Pena from our team for the events, so put this event together. We have Gabriella, she runs our investor relations. Sam or Samantha is our director of operations. Great team to work with. At heart, we form capital for the early stage ecosystem. We help angel groups find members. We often bring them out for dinner events to meet with the angel group leader. We also help VC funds find limited partners. We have family office panels. We'll be doing a family office dinner tonight to help facilitate that. And they also have high net worths who want to start family offices, and we foster that because high net worths who start family offices invest in emerging managers. So we're trying to get more capital going into this space. If you're a startup, there's a few in the room, you take a picture of that QR code and we'll follow up with you to see if this is a good fit for your program for fundraising. We also have a chat bot. Like I say, we're moving into AI with heavy analytics. We have a series of suites. We can actually analyze the pitch deck, the LinkedIn profile, the website of the startup, and start giving actual feedback on how to make that better. We've come up with several suites around how to match angels with startups and startups with investors of other kinds. And we just came up with one for deep tech where we can actually take in a piece of technology and give you a commercialization roadmap. See a lot of people in the deep tech space coming out now, and they have a lot of choices about how they can promote or develop their technology, and it's a great tool for how to move forward with that. So with that, we were originally started back here in 2009. We're called Texas Entrepreneurs Network. My background is I worked for a company called National Instruments, and they went public in 1995, and I started doing angel investing. Long story short, I ended up starting 3 angel networks. I started the CTAN Angel Group in Austin in 2006, and the Baylor Angel Network in 2007, the Local Angel Network in 2008. Had more fun doing that than my day job, so I retired from National Instruments and started what was called Texas Entrepreneurs Network. And then about 2016, we just kept growing our network. We started getting calls from outside of Texas wanting access to what we were doing. So we changed the name to 10 Capital. And then we added the network onto it recently as well. So that's our evolution. Been doing this for over 13 years now. So we have a series of events. You're one of them here today. And we'll look at the list here in a moment. And these are, primarily pitch events, but they're also good networking events. We have a good time at the happy hours and so forth. Hopefully you can join us there as well. If you want to see all of our events, just go to 10capital.group and look up the events page, or take a picture of the QR code and you can see what online events we have as well. We do 4 of those a month. Then we do a series of deep dive due diligence for each of the companies. So we're very event focused. these are the cities that we're going to, or we were last year: Austin, Seattle, Dallas, Bay Area, Chicago, New Mexico, LA, Orange County, Dallas, and so forth. And similar to that, we kind of combed it back a little bit in 2025, and we're going to about 6 major cities: Austin, Dallas, Bay Area, LA, DC, and Houston are 4 cities that we go to. So we continue to do these events around the country. We have a podcast program called Investor Connect, and with that, we have interviewed over 850 angel, VC, family offices, and other investors on what they invest and how they invest and what they're doing. And then we also have a Startup Funding Espresso. The time it takes to drink an espresso, you can learn something about startup funding investing. It's a 300-word microblog post, and it takes about 1.5 minutes to listen to. So we come out with that every day. I've done over 2,000 of those. And so we have now taken all of that and put it inside a chat box. So if you ever want to know anything about startup funding and investing, you can do so. And we come out with a series of suites about it. It follows the startup journey or the investor journey. At each stage, what support do you need, decision support, and it has AI tools that help you figure that out. Looking forward to your feedback on that. We come out with our due diligence report, scan in your data room, and we'll actually produce a due diligence report that you can review and use to go forward. So we're finding AI supercharges a lot of what we've been doing in the past. So we also have a mentor and advisor program. You have mentor advisors, see me afterwards, and I'd be glad to connect you in. It's a great way to meet startups and investors in the space as well. And so finally, we also have, we basically help startups and investors connect for funding. So with that, let's talk about our partners that help us put it together. As I call each one up, maybe you can either come up here or just stand up where you are and tell us more about yourself. Keith May of Beyond Angels has been a great help here in this program. Keith, can you tell us something about yourself and your group?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Keith May. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm local here to the DFW area and have been the director of the Beyond Angels Network for just a couple of years now. We're a little bit younger than the Send Capital Network. We are a faith-based group of angels who has a sister organization called Beyond Capital Fund. So we're pretty entry point agnostic, pretty industry agnostic, but we just love connecting with startups and
Great, thanks. And then we have with us Kurt Godis from Keiretsu Forum. Kurt, can you tell us more about Keiretsu and what's going on there?
Was here.
Oh, he must be outside on the phone. We'll come back to Kurt when he gets off the phone. We have with us Chuck May from Inflection. Chuck?
Inflection Point Group, we've been around for almost 40 years, 38 plus. We help companies scale.
Right. Then we have Ed Pierce of Lion's Den. I think Ed is going to be here in about 15 minutes. When he gets here, we'll have him up as well. And then we have with him also Doug Williamson. For those who are not familiar, Lion's Den is a faith-based organization that's been growing dramatically in the last few years. It went from 300 to 400 to 600 on the way to 800. In their next event, they meet at the Dallas Baptist University downtown. And so it's a great group that it makes very entrepreneurial group that puts money into faith-based startups. So let's talk about our sponsors here. Let's invite up TriNet. We have Layla and we have Sarah here with us today. Come on up, guys, and tell us more about TriNet, what you guys are doing there.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Tim Capital, for giving us the opportunity to speak to all of you today. I met many of you in the room, and if I haven't, I have the pleasure. My name is Sarah Green. I am a director at TriNet, and this is Layla. We work together exclusively in DFW, although we have reach in all 50 states. PEO, we're a professional employer organization. And what that means is we focus exclusively on small to medium-sized businesses on strategic solutions that's pretty much anything employee facing. So from hire to retire, we'll support in some capacity so that you all can be more forward-facing in your business. I have a question, or really it's kind of a question, but raise of hands. When you came up with the idea, you're executing on the idea, you're building out your team, or you have a team that's built, how many of you were hoping and wishing that you could spend 15 to 20% of your time researching state unemployment tax, finding out if you need an EPLI policy, do you need workers' comp coverage if you travel to New York, or one of the favorites I hear, spending hours going over PPO and HDHP plans because you're trying to figure out exactly where benefits fit in your business today. Anybody have a raise of hands that said they're just dying to do that? Okay, I didn't think so, but never know, you never know. That's where we come in, that's where we help. So for founders, we work pretty exclusively. We work with several VC-backed, small to medium-sized businesses, and it allows you to basically, because TriNet has years, really decades of support, we take our strategic HR solutions that help you grow and scale. So again, you're more forward-facing in your business. If you're an investor, you don't want to be caught up. You've got your operational drag. You've got maybe risk mitigation with legal issues. You're looking to accelerate your ROI on your portfolio companies or your investments. And with us, you can let that distraction fall on our plate, because you don't need to be basically having a team that is spending time building out infrastructure for HR or payroll or benefits in-house, because you can partner with us. And again, going back to founders, one of the main things you're out doing, and is exactly what you're doing today, is looking for investors and securing capital. And what we know through our partners that we work with, one of the things that our VC partners and folks that that we have, they want to make sure you can run a business. You got a tight ship, I's are dotted, T's are crossed, no compliance issues, all those kind of things that are that 15 to 20% that could potentially impact your business and the revenue that you're trying to do, or at least what you're trying to do in the market. So what is TriNet itself? We offer strategic HR solutions, and that really is based off of a high-tech platform that grows with your business. And you're going to hear me say that a couple of different times, because we've worked with business owners that are all different phases. You'll have all different life cycles, and we have solutions that will grow with you. So if it's just payroll and HR, and that's where you want to get started, great, we have that option for you. But if you're scaling and growing very quickly, and you're looking for benchmarking, handbook, like you need the whole shebang, the whole bundle, we have that option too. It's turnkey. And if you're actually hiring out of state, it's zip code based. So no longer do you need to be Googling in the middle of the night, which, I've heard sometimes business owners will do. Hey, what do I do in this state? Can I run arrears payroll in Tennessee? No, but don't worry about it, because we're going to take that off your plate. We're going to let us do the heavy lifting with the support. We'll also bring the other pieces that we can customize and curate a benefit strategy that also grows with your business. We have conversations and folks are like, we don't know how we got here. Like, somebody made this decision and it doesn't really fit. We've scaled, we've got 3 times as many people now. We need something that's going to grow with us the next 3 years. We have conversations, consultative conversations, just to talk about landscape all the time. And with TriNet, you have all kinds of options. You got carrier options, you got open market, we have master plan where we have 350,000 lives that bring those economies to scale to your business. Lots of customization, lots of choice. We want to meet your needs where you are. And that may not be a TriNet solution. Maybe it's an introduction. Maybe it's, having a coffee and seeing how we can help with our network, or we can use the resources that we have at our fingertips. So any conversation is a good conversation. Small to medium-sized business, you are the core of the community. We want to make sure that we're investing in you. And so that's where our heart and passion is. So like I said, let us do the heavy lifting. If you're in that, thinking about things, we'll be a soundboard for you, and that will, allow you to do what you do best, which is all the creative and innovative ideas that I've heard about today. You guys will keep forging ahead, and we'll be supporting you behind the scenes.
I just have one thing to add. I am a financial service vertical, which means that I deal mostly in that space. So for founders, I can connect you with a lot of those people. And for investors, I help your offices as well as your portfolio companies. So I just want to let you know, I'm your point of contact here in the DFW area or Houston area. And I'll leave my business cards here, but I want to meet all of y'all in person just in case.
Great.
Any questions? Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. So two of our guys came in after we presented them. Kurt, can you tell us a bit about yourself and Keiretsu?
Kirk Otis, I'm long time in Dallas. Came out of the telecom space and I'm currently at a firm called Hawkeye Capital Partners. Investment bank, doing sell side advisory, but the primary reason I'm here is I'm also involved in an angel networking group called Keiretsu Forum. It's actually the most active angel network globally. We're just getting started in Dallas and we're looking for great deals and great investors. So Keiretsu Forum is the group.
Great. And we had Ed Pierce come in from the Lions Den, taking a plug for the Lions Den. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing there at the Lions Den, Ed?
That's right, apply for the Lions Den. I'm a founder and chairman of the Lions Den. It's basically Christian Shark Tank. And so we have now an 11-year record of bringing early stage companies together with investors. And would love to have, for any of you to apply, come see me if you have any questions, or I can help you with anything to kind of take you along the right path. We've had exits all the way up to 186 million, so we've had a lot of successful companies go through. Paul has been a great partner with Rocky and others. So we really support what 10 Network does and work together on several different approaches. So I'd like to see everyone here.
Thank you. So what we like to do is we will have a group that will do a presentation on SPACs here a little bit later today. Alva Wang, Tina Wang, and Will Garner will talk about that through a Zoom that we'll put at the end of the presentation. What I'd like to do now is go around the room and just have introductions for those who have not presented so far. Just tell us who you are and what you're working on.
Yeah, I'm David Shaw. I'm a co-founder of Strapi, early stage company, almost 30 patents, 4 million in defense contracts, raised about 3 million to deal with congested band. So we license into the devices that serve congested networks and happen to be working on low Earth orbit satellite first. Got a way to secure the transmission, got a way to measure what's going on in the EW arena. So it's a pretty exciting things going. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Edward Sigmund. I'm president of American Business Network. We're an angel investor member organization. We've got 10 very active chapters across the country right now, and remnants of 20 of another 12 that took a little hit during COVID that were out revitalizing. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you.
Right. Bob, you're next.
Yeah, Robert Jacoby, Adjuvant Genomics, we're a lab-developed test for UT Southwestern to help cancer patients that are oncologists as a prognostic test to determine what is the best course of action to take once cancer is found.
Building Group provides strategic advisory services to founder-led startups and SMBs primarily in CPG space. Two clients of which hopefully we'll be working with all in the coming months on the experience.
Brenda?
Hello, I'm Lorenzo Soleni. I'm president and CEO of Renerva. I will present today, and our company deals with peripheral nerve injuries on flexible medical classes.
So Wilson, co-founder of Beyond Capital Funds. We're based here, works with, started here out of Dallas, loosely tied with Beyond Angel Networks. I'm also a member of Lions Den. We focus largely on faith-based tech disruptors. We've launched our third fund this year. We'll close it out in September, and we've already deployed 60% of the capital in that fund. Across our 3 funds, we're invested in about 30 companies, and knock on wood, we haven't had one go under yet. And we'll start to have exits this next year, so we're excited. Love here.
Great.
Matt Goings, I'm the co-founder of Grocery Deals. We're a Keeping Values-based tech startup in the grocery category, the first grocery comparison shopping engine in the U.S. We're solving America's biggest problem right now, according to CNN this morning, high grocery prices. So yeah, we're seed stage, raised about 2 million, so still have room left.
Is Mark back? Mark, okay.
I'm George. Sorry, I'm late. I'm an entrepreneur. I've had 2 exits to pharma companies. I'm here to support some groups that I've invested in. I like to play early stage, and I'm supporting Adjuvant as well as therapeutics company.
Right.
I'm Brian Clary. I'm the co-founder of William Price Distilling. I'll be presenting today. We're focused on the coffee before and beyond space.
Bishop. I can't wait to try his samples. I'm the CEO of Fintegrate, founder of Fintegrate Technology. We write banking software that deals with collection recovery and fraudulent dispute processing for banks and credit unions. Great.
I'm Nathan Fletcher. I'm here with Buddi. We're the world's first streaming app that is made for pet parents. So Netflix, but the content, family-friendly content that is for people who don't get pets. So that's fine.
I'm Michael Fletcher, in addition to the other handsome lad's father. I'm a lifelong entrepreneur, mainly retired, sold my last company in 2021, and recently invested in a new tech company to desalinate water. And here because I'm also an advisor for Buddi, and looking forward to seeing them take off and do some big things.
I'm Ryan Sullivan. I'm the COO for Buddi.
And I'm Leila Pasha. I am the CEO for Buddi, and I'll be presenting to you guys just a little bit.
Great. And David, you came in late. You want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, God, I thought it was Steve. Davidson Smith. I'm a part of Mobility Ventures. We are invested in mobile technology, spun out of Nokia. Track record with serial startup. I did a half dozen companies, sold 5 of them, moved to the dark side, going to venture capital side, and now I'm just critical of everything.
I think that's everybody for now. We may have a few more. We'll have them introduce themselves when they come in. At this point, we'll go and kick into our presentations. So we will have first up Lorenzo Soletti. Come on up and pick up the sticker. You want to stand here, be in the camera spot? Yes. And will I have a clicker? Yes. Wonderful. And kick off already.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Let me see if this works. I'm Lorenzo Soletti. I'm President and CEO of Renerva, whose mission is to develop technology for peripheral nerve injury. We are addressing with our first product a 2.2 billion pain point that affects amputees, literally hundreds of thousands of amputees, and can cause chronic pain, severe impact on mental health, quality of life, productivity, and also is one of the major causes of opioid use disorders derived from surgical procedures. Oh, excuse me, can we go back? Our first product is a nerve capping, is an implantable nerve capping device, which can be connected by surgeons that are performing amputations or are operating to remediate a neuroma that has already formed on nerves. And this device prevents the formation of neuroma when it's not formed, or it prevents the reformation of neuroma when it gets treated. We have published in an impact factor journal, peer-reviewed journal, tremendous impact of this technology that we have developed, up to 17-fold reduction in neuroma formation and 3.5-fold reduction in chronic pain. Now, imagine a patient that is experienced every day, day in and day out, chronic pain, what a 3.5-fold reduction in this pain would mean for them. Might be the difference between having a hell of a life and having a normal life. The technology is protected by 3 patent families, the first of which the United States had just received a notice of allowance. And we've also received for this portfolio that is only covered this project, this product, an informal freedom to operate based on US patent claims. The technology works in a very simple manner and is proprietary. Any surgeon performing procedure, as I mentioned, either amputation or neuroma treatment procedure, can connect with no need for any specialized training and with no disruption with the surgical workflow. This device at the end of a nerve that has been transected. Imagine when there's an amputation, multiple nerve gets transected along with that arm or leg. And the physician can connect these. This device allows the nerve, the unit of growth of the nerve, which are called axons, to grow within the device. And there's a proprietary 3D matrix that is neuroinhibitory, so prevents the growth of the nerve and leads over the course of 8 to 12 weeks to a stable, permanent interruption of growth within the nerve. We test this up to 2 months after the device is completely degraded, showing absolutely stable results. So this technology would benefit the multiple stakeholders involved in the adoption pipeline of this technology. First and foremost, end users, surgeons performing amputation or specialized procedure. by offering them the opportunity to use something that is affordable, that doesn't disrupt the workflow of the procedure, and that achieve consistent outcome for their patients. For patients, it's very intuitive. If patients are the beneficiaries in this pipeline. Providers, which are hospital systems that we will engage with in terms of purchasing contracts. So those that will be the purchaser of our technology would benefit from increased profitability, from dedicated reimbursement codes that will be associated to this technology as clinical data becomes available. And ultimately, payers like private or public insurance, like the CMS, would experience a lower total cost of care as a result of the use of the preventative use of this technology, which would translate in an incremental increase in the cost of the original procedure to prevent then significant expenditure down the road in the order of $30,000 to $50,000. The neuroma market, it can be segmented in two major branches, the prevention, which is the main target and the largest segment, and the treatment market. Cumulatively, these two in the United States alone represent a total addressable market of $2.2 billion. Globally, it's about a $6 billion market. The technology would position itself as the technology offer this trifecta of properties. It's simple to use, it is affordable, and it is highly efficacious. In the competitive landscape, there's a clear gap in these values. For example, existing technology, they're either adopted, they're affordable, but don't work, or they're efficacious, they work, but they're very expensive in the order of $30,000 and require highly specialized care. As a result, less than 3% of patients receive that. So obviously, there's a clear gap in the current space that we're trying to fill. This technology will be regulated as a Class 2 medical devices. As a Class 2 medical device is regulated through the pre-market notification pathway of 510(k). We have identified, we have initial discussion with the FDA. This is highly validated. We will pursue an accelerated reimbursement strategy and dedicated reimbursement through the breakthrough designation path, which will ensure higher profitability for providers. Excuse me, going back. Yeah, we are a team of experienced professionals with more than 150 years of cumulative experience. We're also very lean in the way we do everything. And so we contract some of the specialized professionals in dedicated functional area that are specific to medical device and the life science industry, like quality management, regulatory and clinical, or IP. Our industry is very, very IP intense. Pete Comas, one of our board members, is a former medtech entrepreneur and CEO that has led two successful exits, A-Lung and Renal Solution. We also have a medical advisory board composed of key opinion leaders, absolutely maximum experts in the field of peripheral nerve injury and repair, and also in the field of nerve science and nerve study. We have a pretty exciting timeline. We're a pretty advanced company, even though we have relied mostly on non-dilutive capital. We raised to date $6 million in grants on non-dilutive and about $2 million in dilutive capital. We are about 1 to 2 months from receiving an FDA approval to conduct our first in-man clinical study, which will allow us to pursue that breakthrough designation, that dedicated reimbursement. And we're less than 1 year away from market launch in the United States through the 510(k) path. We are planning a bridge to Series A round of 1.5 million, which will launch at the beginning of September. We have also received a notice that we will also receive almost $1 million before the end of the year, actually this quarter. And this money will bring us to, of course, this clinical trial and the Series A. I want to note that the Series A is the last financing that we will need before reaching an exit in 2028 or 2029. So we have received significant momentum in the past, just in the past 3 months. We have this publication, Impact Factor Journal from the Nature Group, NPJ Regenerative Medicine. We have the notice of allowance. We have a very positive favorable discussion with the FDA regarding the authorization to start a clinical trial in the United States, Ohio State University. And we've also received notice that we'll receive almost $1 million in additional non-dilutive capital. So we're raising a Series A, a bridge to Series A in the form of convertible note plus warrant. These have very tremendously positive terms for our investors. What we will do with this money include running this clinical trial that I mentioned on 10 patients, We will also complete the testing required to submit the package to the FDA for market clearance, which is completely independent from the clinical trial. So we're doing these two things in parallel. One does not depend on the other. And then we will also file and receive clearance for market launch in the United States in 2023, in Q3 2026. These are the terms. So in summary, we have a life-changing technology that has a real potential to make an impact in patients, especially amputees that are affected by these issues. We have received significant vetting, and ultimately we believe in a vision in which no amputee should suffer from painful neuroma and chronic pain in the future, because an easy, affordable solution that is highly efficacious should be available to all. We hope that you'll join this mission and you'll participate, or you'll find any interest in this investment opportunity. I'm happy to answer any question at this time. Thank you for your time.
First question. You mentioned patents. What does it cover?
The patent that has been currently from one of the families that's been currently issued in the United States cover broadly the method of manufacturing, about 90% of the method of manufacturing. The other
So manufacturing, not a usage or.
The first patent is protecting the method of manufacture. We were able to obtain this early allowance because we repurposed another grant from our portfolio. We have a portfolio of 8 families of patent, more than 40 issued and pending patent, US and international. So we repurposed an older patent to focus on this technology, and we were able to receive an early notice of allowance to protect the manufacturing methods. The other patents for this technology are protecting composition of matter and methods of use as well.
How's what you're doing, what you talked about here with this relate to the other devices and gel stuff that y'all do?
I'm sorry, could you
How does
repeat?
it relate to the other things that y'all do? So I just, y'all got the PNM matrix, the gel.
To the other technology that we have in our pipeline?
Yeah.
Yes, so this is the technology. Our technology pipeline include other products in the same vertical of peripheral nerve injury repair. The first product is an injectable hydrogel, so that has the opposite effect of the first product. The first product is a neuroinhibitory technology, so the cap, the one that I talked about, to prevent the growth of the nerve. This hydrogel is the opposite. It's a neuroinductive technology to help a nerve that has been injured and repair faster and better. This technology also is an advanced stage of development. We are currently troubleshooting some issue that we encountered a couple of years ago and caused this product to be put in a second level of emphasis. The other products are also a product that surgeons would use for nerve repair procedure. One is called sutureless neurography device. It's a technology that allows to connect two nerves that have been transected, imagine a sharp injury, without the use of suture. Suture are normally considered pro-inflammatory and they diminish the healing. And the last technology is a graft that would be used to bridge nerve gap injuries. So injury like that are essentially for which you cannot pull the two nerves together. You need to put something in between. And this is at the most, at the least developed stage of development, our graft technology.
So those are future opportunities for that.
These are future opportunities for which all of our financials are not including revenue that would derive from this. However, our exit would benefit from the value in terms of IP and market opportunity that this technology. Our goal in terms of future go-to-market strategy and future exit strategy is to obtain early market validation to seek a strategic acquisition that would then bring the technology to full global scale. We do not intend to distribute this globally. Yeah, go ahead.
So I span the plan. Is there any maintenance?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great point. So this technology is manufactured with proprietary methods from segments of porcine nerve tissue. So in our supply chain, which is fully developed as our manufacturing for this technology, we harvest as raw material porcine nerves. And we make the device from segments of these porcine nerves. And so when you treat them and make them into a device and you implant them, they essentially get degraded by the body and they get completely replaced by the patient's tissue. The full process of degradation lasts about 2 months or 8 weeks. And there's no maintenance. This is something that dissolves over time.
Can you describe your exit strategy, which is going to happen in just a couple of years? How do you get to it so fast?
So as I mentioned, our goal is to show small scale market traction and validation. What does that mean? It means that, let me see if I can, it means that we will deploy a two-phase go-to-market strategy, which will leverage in the first phase, highly specialized audience, like highly specialized end users. So we will start from specialized surgeon in the peripheral nerve space. These are plastic reconstructive, neurosurgeon with specialty, or orthopedic with specialty in nerve. These surgeons will use the technology early on, and in their high volume, highly specialty, mostly academic center, localized in the Northeast United States. And after the technology is adopted by these early adopters, then there will be clinical evidence and influence from these physicians that would enable the broader, in a second stage of our go-to-market, the broader segment of customers, which are surgeon performing general amputation. The majority of amputation are performed by vascular surgeons or by trauma surgeons and orthopedic surgeons as well. So when we have conquered about 30 accounts in the Northeast United States, we believe, and we have shown a certain recurring revenue growth, and this is per month, that would qualify us as high growth, even though the absolute amount of the sales would not be very high. We believe that as we demonstrate that 10 to 20% month-to-month growth in our sales, that will be sufficient for an early strategic acquirer to extrapolate that to the larger picture, especially because they already possess the channel to distribute these nationwide in a very meticulous way and then globally. So that is, yeah.
What kind of gross margin?
Our manufacturer is fully developed. On market entry, we're benefiting from a 94% gross margin. So our selling price based on competitive product would be $1,400 per unit, and our manufacturing cost is $80 per unit on market launch.
Stop.
Any other questions?
Yes. What are some of the barriers to success?
Yeah, there's a few. So as I mentioned, we have seen existing specialized, the level one segment of our end users, the specialized surgeon that really know, they're very aware of the issue. They're very eager to test technology that will improve the outcome in their patient. They're very involved with publication. All the early adopter physicians tend to orbit into this type of interest. For them, it's very simple. They are eager to participate in our clinical trial. We have already designed a pilot trial at Ohio State University with top key opinion leader Amy Moore, which is the chief of plastic and reconstructive in Columbus at Ohio State. And we've also decided design a pivotal trial, which is at 10 sites in different states where top key opinion leader. These people are eager to test this technology also because we propose to test this technology to benchmark it against the best performing. I don't know if you remember that technology that costs not a technology, it's a surgical procedure that require high specialized, costs $30,000. So these physicians are absolutely very interested in testing something that costs only $1,000 that can replace a $30,000 procedure. Some of the barrier would be, to answer your question, when we switch from segment one, early adopter, to the broad distribution, the time in which you are really creating the influence and the awareness in the broader customer segment, that might require more time. That would be a risk. Another potential risk would be incoming competitors. There are other competitors. We believe we're absolutely better than the two existing products, and I can show reasons why, but I might be running out of time. But as they produce, if they are able to produce compelling clinical data, so far there's none, that might become, I believe that the market is significantly large, and our market maturity, sales maturity would be 20% a segment of this larger market. There's space for everybody, also we don't believe that that's the case, also in the case in which competitor might come out with strong data, which they don't now, and therefore they might become a more formidable competitor than we're currently. So these are, I believe, two of the major risks at this point. And very much.
That's our time. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Buddi. And move to the next. There you go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Layla, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Buddi. What is Buddi? So think of your Netflix streamer, but a soft-faced, family-friendly streamer that only features pet content. So educational pet content, entertainment pet content, anything that you would think your furry friends that you want to watch is on. So imagine if you can take the $137 billion pet space and match it up to the only growing entertainment space, which is niche streaming. You could put those together, what would you have? You'd have Buddi. So Buddi is built for Gen Z and millennial people that really love their pets and that want to sit and watch content that makes their pets' life better or that entertains them with their pets and is geared specifically for them. It's creator-made originals, it's licensed programming, and it's educational content. And I think the thing on this page that you all probably want to know is we are profitable at 75,000 subscribers with a $7.99 a month or $79.99 a year annual subscription. 75,000 subscribers is a pretty low number when you look at Netflix, Hulu, and everyone else that's doing that. That is a very achievable number. So right now, the pet space in America, 66% of homes have pets. It's 87 million homes have pets. They spent $137 billion in 2023 on their pets. I'm one of them, and I would venture a guess, if I asked y'all to raise hands, almost every hand would go up here that you have an animal in your home that you love. We are a niche streamer, so that's low cost. That is very specific. So if you go to Netflix right now and you search out pet content, you're going to get Pet Cemetery and maybe something else that has a pet in it, but it's not going to be what you are looking for, and it's definitely not going to be family friendly. When you talk to people and ask them what they want, they're looking for commercial free. They are looking for bingeable content, shows they want. They want to be able to watch it on demand. They don't want to have to sit through commercials or wait for their show to come on. They're looking for it on demand in the moment at that time. And we can do that. You might be asking, are there other people that do this? Many of you have probably heard of dog TV, but what you may not know is dog TV is for your dog to watch. That is not for you to watch with your dog. That is for your dog to watch when you go to work or when you leave. And it might also surprise you to know that they have 400,000 subscribers and counting. There are other people that do things like stream on demand or stream on SVOD. So that is a fast channel type of situation. They have to watch commercials. It's very specific, and you have to watch what they're showing. So Buddi is the only one in this space showing you what you want, when you want it, in a family-friendly way, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. How big is the total addressable market? Well, we just talked about it, 87 million. But when you take the 87 million and you really start to narrow it down, what pet parents are also streaming? Well, that's about 61 million. But if you get even farther down than that, who's watching pet influencer content? Who's streaming it on their phone already? Who's going to Instagram? Who's looking at that? That's about 5.5 million people. And that's our target rich first actual target that we are going to go after. So that is the initial audience. Our go-to-market strategy involves a company called Media Plus. We've identified them. They've done a tremendous amount of work. We know where these people are. We know how to get to them. And how do we know that? Because Media Plus did this for a streamer you may be familiar with called BritBox. So BritBox went from 0 to 500,000 subscribers in under 2 years. And that's the agency that helped them get there. So we've got that in our hands. We are ready to go with this seed funding. And we are going to go get those people and get them on the platform. We've also got a tremendous amount of influencers and creators that are on deck for us to create that unique content. So we've got about 200 hours of programming, 40 hours of original content, and about 160 of licensed content. But what's really going to make that work is going to be these creators that people love, follow, that will bring their followers to the platform, but that are also going to create really interesting content for us to be able to stream. Who's the team bringing this to you? Well, I am here. I am the CEO. I have a deep background in marketing, and I come with multiple exits. So I've done 2 exits, IPO exits, totaling over $2 billion. My husband, Ryan Sullivan, also the co-founder. He's the operational expert behind all of this. And he has taken several, he's a serial entrepreneur, and he has exited his businesses successfully. And then Nathan Fletcher. So Nathan is our EVP of programming. He comes with a deep knowledge from Ride TV and Great American Family, and he is behind all of the programming here. And he's also part of an exit there for 150 million. What have we been working on? We've built the platform, we've got it all ready to go, we've got the market research, we've done multiple events where we've gone in and talked to people to really understand what they're looking for. We've secured Media Plus. We have cleared 91% of all the connected TVs. So we're on Samsung, we're on Apple, we're on Roku. We are there, ready to go and hit go on that. And we've identified all the creators and influencers for all of this original programming and content that is going to come with the seed funding. And what else are we working on? We're working on a lot of AI and tech things that are going to make that app sticky. So Buddi Helps is a way for you to come into the platform if you've got anything going on with your pet or anything you want to know. Fireworks are always really scary for the dogs. We get a ton of activity on our social media platforms currently when those times are happening. People want to know how to make their pet's life better during these things when they have illnesses. Buddi Helps is going to be an AI fueled technology that people can go to and get more information on that. We've got a proprietary platform that will be coming, e-commerce. So being able to shop inside of the shows is going to create additional revenue streams for us. And also with that merchandising. So lots of things where you can cross-partner with different brands. And if you think about a lot of lifestyle bundling that's happening now, that is something we're exploring right now. So you've got other systems like we were talking earlier, there's a licensed private dog park here in Dallas called Mutts. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, but you get to pay a monthly subscription to bring your dog to the bougie dog park, not the regular old dog park. But bundling with groups like that, where there's already pet loving people and being able to bring all those services together is something that's on our radar. Possible exit strategies. Well, I've done a couple of IPOs here, so that's a possible exit strategy. Merging with a similar service. So we're already have a partnership going with Bark TV right now. So we're streaming on theirs, they're streaming on ours. But something bundling that or Dog TV, something like that could happen. Major pet brand. You might be thinking, well, Chewy's out there. There's other people doing things like this. What about them? I can tell you, being on the retailer side, we are not here to do startups. This is not something that a Chewy wants to do. But what they could do is say, hey, that's been going for a little bit. That's pretty interesting. I want to control the content there. I want to put my stuff there. I'm going to acquire that and I'm going to skin it with Chewy. That's a very real possibility. And there's also a possibility of a buyout. There's lots of other streamers that are out there and other entertainment brands that could be interested in doing something like this. There's a lot of packaging happening, similar to what was happening a few years back on cable, starting to happen with streamers. There have been several exits on the streamer side. Brands you may know, brands you may not know, but Crunchyroll sold for hundreds of millions. Shudder TV was sold to AMC for about $150 million recently, so that happens a lot. Why now? Someone is going to do this. There's $137 billion a year that tells you people will spend on pets, so this is coming. We're already here, we're already ready to go, we're ready to hit go with this seed investment. We are bringing a very big addressable market. People have a deep affinity for their pets. They love to be entertained, especially in this economy. People are staying home. They want more options of what they can watch, but they want it curated to what they're looking for. Pet content. So we are here raising $500,000 in a seed raise. The value cap is $10 million. The discount rate is 15%, and our interest rate is 4 to 6%. We've got 125,000 interested and committed at this point. The use of funds, as you can imagine, is going to go to programming, it's going to go to marketing, it's going to go to sales. So we are ready to go. We need the funds to market and create new content. And the important thing here is our gross profit margin in year 5 is 84%. It's 115 million in revenue at that stage. This is a very lucrative business. And we would love for you to come and join our journey. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
First question. What's defensive? What really is your barrier to entry, given that you mentioned that there are a lot of people who play around in this space?
They play around in streaming. Our defense is that it's highly curated for specifically the pet parent, the people that are really, the people that adore their pets and that are looking for that kind of content. And also being soft faith and being family friendly. This is something that you can put your kids in front of, that you can have on when other people are around. I think that is a big, you know, people talk about like YouTube and Netflix and all those things. Those are not family friendly or safe, especially YouTube. You put your kid down in front of a YouTube and they get a commercial that is not family friendly or safe for them. So people tend to either not do that, or they subscribe, and a YouTube subscription is $14.99 a month, we're at $7.99. This is a great way for people to have that be specific to them and be something that they can trust.
To piggyback, you guys, are you planning on having any exclusivity with these influencers you are partnering with?
Yes, absolutely. All their content would be exclusive and it would be only on Buddi, and they would then, of course, bring their followers. Similar to when you think about any of these reality shows now, and they cast people in their reality shows, they're casting influencers basically that are going to bring their viewers there, because people have, you know, they're not as sticky as you want them to be. The thing that's great about pet and pet content is people are there. There's a high affinity for their animals. That's why they're spending $137 billion a year. I'm one of them. I have 4 animals and I have spent an ungodly amount of cash on these animals. So you have that real deep affinity there, and these influencers bring that with them. And so yes, it's exclusive to Buddi. That is part of already the negotiations that we have with them. So I will give you an example of one that's actually happening right now. There's a gentleman in Philadelphia. His name is Bob, the Cowboy Cat Wrangler. And this gentleman spends every single night going out and feeding and saving a lot of these feral cat colonies. So feral cat colonies live all over the city. You may or may not ever see them. He's got a real deep love for them. So he feeds, he traps, neuters, and returns. So he goes out at 2 o'clock in the morning in Philadelphia. And my husband was there a couple of weeks ago and went with him, and they had camera crew, which was Nathan, and they shot them going out and kind of catching the cats, saving the cats, feeding the cats. There's always interesting dynamics that happen when you're out in a city at 2 a.m. feeding and like crawling under business fences to get to these poor animals to make sure they get fed. So that's actually a show that we're already in talks of producing. And he's got a huge following on social media, and he's always raising money for to get the food, to get the care. And so this would offer an opportunity, by getting paid to do a show, would be an opportunity for him to fund that. He's very passionate about it. There are several people, if you go on and look on any kind of social media, there are several people that have their own niche. So there's people like Nathan the Cat Lady. That guy is he's a comedian who has a lot of cats. He does the same thing where he goes out and a lot of these guys have a lot of, they're very attached to like the rescue and the sanctuary situation. And so there's a lot of content there for people to watch. People love to watch animals get saved. If you think about how often you get trapped on a dog video or like these dog jobs, service dogs, that's another really big avenue. I can speak from, I do marketing. I'm the head of marketing for a major retailer in America. And anytime I put a dog or a cat into my ad, it gets a 5 times stickier rate of conversion. So that is something people know, people are very, very attracted to, and it's very. Yeah.
Have you raised any money up to this point, and how much?
So we've invested $1.5 million of our own personal dollars, and we've got 125,000 committed. It's a seed round, so this is our first. We're invested $1.5 million.
Talk about the break-even point and what's going to take to get there.
Yeah, so 75,000 subscribers is a relatively low number. We believe that that's going to happen in our 24th month. So pretty quickly, when you think about startups and niche streaming and all of that, so 24 months. And we feel very, very confident that the Media Matters, Media Plus strategy is going to get us there. So they've created a very compelling market strategy. We've identified where they are. Dallas is one of the first markets we're going to launch in. and we'll get going as soon as that seed funding comes through. They did BritBox, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we did too. Yeah, and they had like 0 brand recognition, so that really is a similar situation for us. And we feel they are really, the market research that they have done, and speaking as somebody who, as a CMO, I do tons and tons of customer segmentation work, market research. They really are a class act, and so we're very, very confident in that program. And yeah, BritBox is one of the better streamers out there.
How are you gonna attract the content creators? Are they monetized or content?
So, look, everyone wants a TV show. When you talk to these influencers, they're all, I wanted to be an actor, ... There's always some version of that. So everybody wants a show, and everyone wants to raise money. So they're not wanting to just have a show and be famous and be able to say, I have a show. They're the deep rooted rescuers. So one of the shows, one of the people that we've talked to is somebody who, she literally runs a sanctuary out of her home. She's got 70 animals. She's got 3 acres out here, and that's her whole jam. And so for her to be able to get a show and get paid is a huge deal, because that takes a lot of stress off of how am I going to get food? How am I going to pay for all this care? It's a major driver in that space, and they literally have millions of followers, and they bring those followers everywhere. I've seen it at these shows. We go to dog shows and cat shows just to, we have a booth and we talk to people and give away subscriptions, and it's a lot of fun. But really, when you bring that influencer into the booth, it's an instant, 100 people in line. What's that? We do, yeah.
So they're not too much sure they get enough system content to have.
Well, it's a great question. And then, look, Nathan and I were the production people. They're doing it all right. So, for instance, the piggyback what you're saying on Color Gathering, right? He is really a guy with enough followers where we go after him. He doesn't have a super high account, right? Where he's not really making any money. And every day he is putting out a 15-minute show on his own. And people that are watching him, and he's not getting people.
Exactly.
So he's doing it already. Now, if we can pay him for that, still keep his show. He maybe teases a couple of minutes of it on his Instagram and Facebook. And says, hey, for us, guys, start the Buddi, more the Buddi, right? For somebody that's got a bigger show and we've got, some funding, we can get production because they're kind of one-person operations. So if we can say, hey, we can take production, we can elevate it a little bit more to do it. And they, once again, they bring their followers in. But they don't have to worry about filming, editing, all this stuff.
Exactly. We're on store, right? Because there's people that keep following, watching. French comedy, yes.
Right.
There's also, but like, you see that you have to get some acre show that they already become. Right?
Yeah.
They Sue's numbers. My kids like Sue's anthem all the time.
Right. So there are like, for example, stop me. The big dog rescue in the world, it's a Pitbull and World, it's a huge hit show, right? Well, they stopped making it because the problem challenges and things like that. So there's a lot of top tier talent that have huge social media following that are no longer being paid by one of the other. And so we can go in and scoop up some really big things. Big opportunity.
So time. So for these 2 presenters here, we'd like to get some feedback from the audience here. So if you take out your mobile phone, check it out. Let's see, we'll give you a text. If you give us some feedback, I'm interested or not. And we'll know who to follow up with after this. So we're gonna just take a moment to do that. Then we'll kick into our break and we'll be trying out some of the martini from here pretty soon.
And then we'll come back from break.
Come back at 3:45. Give 15 minutes. So yeah, good. Thanks, that. Yeah, you waited. You guys did want to kick back off?
Yeah.
Great.
I want to wait.
Are you done?
He's gonna drive the show up here.
Yeah.
I try.
Anyway, thank you guys for such a wonderful break and such a good conversation. Appreciate you doing all that for us. With that, we're gonna kick off with our next one. I hope you get to try the martini. So it's really good. And by the way, you get to keep the glasses. You get to take a bottle home with you. If you want 2 bottles, you probably can get away with it. With that, let's go and kick off with our next presenter. Is Frank Clary of William Price.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Brian Clary. I'm the co-founder and president of William Price Distilling. We're a craft distillery out of Houston, Texas. We are here to craft the future of coffee cocktails. We've won quite a few awards. We have 100% best coffee liqueur win rate at American Distilling Institute. Out of the 3 times we submitted it in the last 5 years, we've taken home best coffee liqueur. We also have a gold medal from San Francisco World Spirits Awards, which makes us one of the top coffee liqueurs in the world. Our vision is to be the new standard in coffee liqueurs, as well as a lifestyle brand which you can connect to and have an emotional connection at the intersection of coffee culture as well as spirits. One of the biggest problems, or one of the market opportunity that we see is who all here does not drink coffee? Does anyone not drink coffee? Okay, one person, you can leave. Coffee is the 3rd most drank beverage in the world next to water and tea. So everyone has a daily ritual around coffee that creates a lot of opportunity to cross over into the coffee liqueur space. It's the coffee liqueur space is a $4.2 billion segment of the alcohol market. It is dominated with a 75% share by Kahlua. However, due to their large market share, they don't have a lot of innovation and connection to the younger generations. So the opportunity we see, or the problem we see is, again, here's some pictures of Kahlua on the shelf. That has not modernized to keep up with the craft coffee culture. Everyone knows cafes, coffee, the daily ritual continues to evolve into the better coffees. So our solution is creating a premium coffee liqueur brand that aligns with that coffee culture and creates a lifestyle brand. We do have proprietary and protected trade secrets around how we produce this. So again, you've tried, or at least have in front of you, our coffee liqueur, which is just coffee, chocolate, vanilla, sugar, and alcohol. It's how we put those together and the quality of ingredients we use. And then the espresso martini, which is the darker one, is our new product we hope to bring to market soon. Our target market is upwardly mobile females from 25 to 45. They're generally going to be more forward-thinking, open to more premium brands, and have that lifestyle connection. Our business model, again, is more towards focusing on creating that lifestyle brand and that emotional connection. We are focused in the Houston market right now. It has 7 million people. I would say it's the 4th largest city. However, we're in Dallas right now, so I'll say it's the 5th largest metro area. Give you credit for being bigger. But there's plenty of opportunity to focus on Houston, hone our brand, hone our lifestyle and our connection, and then strategic expansion into the Texas metro markets, including DFW, San Antonio, and Austin. Our sales channel, again, it's our normal sales channel for our alcohol brand. We have our tasting room in Houston that does have our highest revenue stream right now. And we have about a 49% retention rate of customers there. We do get about 175,000 in recurring revenue for those same customers. And then on-premise and off-premise, which is our bars, restaurants. We are in the Dallas market in a couple bars, but we're not pushing it right now. So Haywire, which is just around the corner, I believe, uses our coffee and their espresso martini here. We are in Specs, Total Wine, and a lot of retailers down in Houston, about 250. The future product that we see as the expansion in the future of our product line is the espresso martini, which is the darker one in front of you. This is wine-based. It is a And I say wine-based with air quotes, it is mostly a spirit-based, but does have some wine, so it actually goes into the grocery store channel. Of those channels, H-E-B, Kroger, Club Randall's, those are opportunities that are available to us, where there's very little competition in a coffee alcohol space. We have been up and operating since COVID. We have 3.2 million in total revenue since inception. And we realized that after launching more as a whiskey brand, we've pivoted more towards the coffee. It's a big differentiation factor. It's not a crowded market, and we do have a premium product there. 81% of our offsite sales have been through that coffee. Coffee Liqueur also offers us the best margins out of all of our products, between 62 and 87% gross margins. That is usually due to the different revenue streams. At an espresso martini at our tasting room, it's $13 for a cocktail. Included with that is $2.25 our cost of goods with the labor and other ingredients. If we sell wholesale, we're selling at about $10 a bottle. That then goes to the distributor, then goes to a specs, and then that ends up being either on the shelf or sold to bars and restaurants. That's a 62.5% margin. Our cost of goods is generally around $350 to $370. Excuse me. The use of funds is generally going to be for brand awareness and customer acquisition. We're going to put more into marketing, tasting, sales, and inventory, working capital as well. We are raising 2 to 3 million in this raise. We have an existing angel investor who has pledged putting up another $1 million out of that. So we've raised an additional 100,000 out of that, so 1.1 million into our 2 million raise. If we get further along towards a 3 million raise point, where we'll start looking at strategic pay down of some SBAs. Our team is me and my business partner. It is all his fault that I'm here today. He was my college roommate. We played rugby together. We're in the same fraternity. We generally started out as whiskey guys, but I'll start a whiskey company and make all my money in wine-based espresso martinis. I'll pivot like that, and I already have. His buddy started Eighth Wonder Brewing, which is down in Houston. And when I went back to get my MBA, he told me that I should write a business plan for a distillery. So 12 years later, here I am. We actually have our lead investor, Robert Kasperzak. He's more of a CFO advisor. We talk to him every week on Tuesday about financials and stuff like that. And his advisor, Kevin Spivak, has been in the alcohol space. He worked on a joint venture with Seagram's and Patron. And then we're always looking for additional strategic advisors to be on. Our exit strategy is to have an M&A around the 5-year mark, looking for a large spirits company to come, or a global spirits company to come in and purchase us. Diageo is not on the board. They own Kahlua. So they wouldn't buy us out unless we are such a thorn in their side that they want to get rid of the competition. Again, we're looking towards a 5 to 8 revenue multiple. Our terms are going to be a convertible note, 2 to 3 million. Again, we've already raised 1.1 million of that 2 million. We will have an 8% interest on that note and 20% discount on the note itself, not in future rounds, and 5-year maturity. So that's it. We'd love for you to come on board and invest with us, and I'm open to any questions.
The first question. You do anything with glaziers or any of the distributors or?
So our distributor is Greenlight Distribution. Glaziers is one of their competitors. We do have exclusivity with Greenlight for another 4 years. Other competitors in the distribution space are RNDC, Southern Glaziers, but we're with Greenlight right now.
Is that geographic or how's that?
Geographic. So we're only in the state of Texas right now. We're focused on Texas. There's so much opportunity in Texas. We're not looking for regional expansions that were 2 to 3 years on. Now, we have had opportunities, so we pitched through Patrick Henry. We pitched the Tillman Fertitta brands, and with Maven Coffee, which is Tillman Fertitta's son's coffee brand. We got some traction with that, but we're still working on that. We can do private label coffee liqueur. We basically can sub out any of our coffee with another coffee. Our coffee supplier right now is Cat's Coffee. They're down in Houston. They have regional distribution as well. They're the premier specialty coffee roaster.
All right, so you can't sell directly to bar restaurants. You have to go through the distributor, correct?
For the spirit side, the vodka side, the coffee liqueur, everything up here, correct? Except for this. So this wine base has different distribution laws. We currently have a G license, which is a winery license. We get a T2BA license that will allow us direct to retailer distribution. So that will allow us to ship to HEB's warehouse and stuff like that. All the other ones go to our distributor first, then to a liquor store, and from there to our.
So how long have you been distributing? How long have you been in business?
So we opened up, we got the keys to our building in February of 2020. And in March of 2020, we started making hand sanitizer and made that pivoted really quick. I was the only person who was sitting on my hands waiting for bank loans to come through and wasn't doing anything when COVID started, and then was running 100-person hand sanitizer business in 3 weeks. We've been distributing and making spirits since 2020.
What's your revenue now?
On a monthly basis or annual? Annual basis, about 650, 700.
And how much of it has been invested to this point?
Through all channels, including myself, about 1.7. Yes.
Did you say you're in the specs throughout
Yes.
all of Texas?
So we are heavily in specs in the retail down in Houston. We are turned on for distribution through their Class B wholesale. So basically bars and restaurants can pick us up in major metropolitan areas. The way that works is the liquor store turns you on for that county. So we're on in Tarrant County, Dallas County, Denton County as well as Harris County. About 10 counties we're turned on with our.
So if we go to specs in Dallas County right now, the retail.
It won't be on the shelf, but if you're a bar or restaurant, you can ask for it and order it. If you are a consumer who wants to purchase it, then that's something that we would have to work with specs to get it on the shelf. We are actually launching a partnership with a company called Junk's Place. It's a premium barbershop. I'm actually going up and talking with them a little later, and we're going to be the premium coffee liqueur and have a 16-month exclusive with them. We're also putting our gin in there and our rides. And they will end up buying it at retail for specs, so that'll open up more doors.
You have that deal right now, or you're talking?
We're having a meeting next week, so kick off in March. It should launch in September.
Well, walk us through your distribution plan going forward. What's next? Is it HEB? Is it Walmart? Who is it? What do you?
The goal is to get HEB because they're a Texan-focused company. If we can get our espresso martini on the shelf there, we actually did the Quest for the Best, and we're one of the last 10 companies in to the final this year. However, we were picked to present or win an award there. It would behoove us to work with them. All of that is how much you get on the shelf. Placement on the shelf is a lot of pay to play and balance. So if we get this direct to HEB, they can make a 40% margin. They're going to give us an end cap in 20 cases. If I go through my distributor and they can only make a 15-20% margin, I might be a bottle or two on the shelf.
What's your manufacturing capacity?
Right now, we can probably double to about 10x. I could probably push out a truckload a week. So about 20 pallets a week.
What does that translate to in sales, yearly sales? Give me a yearly sales figure, what you're doing.
I could probably push out around 75,000.
Bottles or dollars?
Dollars. So we have with the coffee liqueur, the benefit of that over things like our whiskey line is extremely scalable in the production methodology. It's very quick to make. There's no aging required. It takes about 4 hours to make a 1,000-liter batch. And we can do 4 batches at a time. And then it's just manufacturing and bottling. We do have some money set aside in the raise for potentially putting into a bottling line, a fully automated bottling, line, something like that. It can also be outsourced to be a co-pack. We're actually are doing co-packing for other companies right now as an additional.
So are you using a co-packer or is it all in-house right now?
It's all in-house right now. We haven't hit our production capacity. We do have a 17,000 square foot facility with stills and our casing room, and we haven't hit our production capacity limit yet. So we can bottle up to 5 pallets in a day. That would be highly efficient though, and that would require scaling up the flavors.
Final question? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Fintegrate. I'm used to being the last presenter. I'm the guy that stands in between you and the bar. But this time, you know, he got here early.
I was standing by the bar too.
I was standing behind the bar, so great. That's how the Fintech. My name is Chris Bishop, founder, CEO. Forward, the button that says forward, right?
Yeah, there's a couple more slides.
Oh, there we go. Founder, CEO of Fintegrate Technology. We're a fintech company focused on collection and recovery software for banks and credit unions, as well as dispute management and processing for banks and credit unions. Everybody covered that. Our goal is automation. I've spent 25 years in this industry. I've had 4 previous successful fintech companies, fintech exits, and we've all focused on banking core integration and automation. So we've got a lot of experience in that. The problem in the banking segment today is about 9,500 banks and credit unions in the U.S. Believe it or not, if you've been in banking or you're aware of this, a lot of these guys use spreadsheets and like 20-year-old systems to process collections, recovery, delinquent payments, as well as your disputed payments. So you go out there and you do a Venmo or you do dispute a Google purchase, and you wouldn't think about your bank in the back office actually tracking that with spreadsheet. There's about 5 different systems they have to track and enter data into and credit your account, provision credit. And it's all based on, in a lot of cases, a manual spreadsheet that they use. So in addition to 20-year-old systems, you know, our goal is to really automate that process. We've done that today with our Fusion DMS product. We're doing that with the collection recovery product in the bank and credit sector. The CRS product, Fusion CRS for collection recovery, starts with pre-delinquency risk scoring. So what we can do there with a certain degree of accuracy is we can predict who's going to be delinquent on next month's loan payments, car payments, fast-food payments, whatever it is, based on their spending patterns or transactions, all the different data feeds we take in. That allows the bank and credit union to then kind of provision funds or marketing, either way or both, to maybe what's going to be a delinquent loan. The day it goes delinquent, our system kicks in and starts processing the delinquency requirements. The Fed, the OCC, the regulatory agencies have all these processes that have to be followed, from the timelines to the communications to how they can communicate with the end user, when they can communicate, how often they can communicate, and they have to have all this in a system of record. Can't be in a spreadsheet that just says I sent an email. You can't go back and dig up all the emails for a 90-day period for a delinquent loan. So our system tracks all that. Then as that moves through the delinquency process and it goes to charge off, let's say it gets 90, 120 days old, it gets even more complicated. But now we've got lawyers involved, we've got skip tracers involved, we've got courts involved, it's a bankruptcy. We automate the entire process of sending data to those entities or collecting their data and feedback to keep in our CRM, our collections recovery system, for the auditors, regulators, for the bank. They've already spent that money to track the customer. They've got the asset out now. They're trying to garnish payments or get payments back in. And even if it goes to bankruptcy, we have a shadow accounting system so that they don't have to write the entire amount off their books for a delinquent loan. They can categorize some of it to interest, some to fees, such as court fees, collection fees, and just write off the actual amount of the asset, which in turn keeps them from having to increase their loan loss reserves for next quarter. All very complicated, but stuff the banks deal with every day. They're very familiar with. Our Fusion DMS system is a little simpler than that. It's dispute management. So when you
say this is not my transaction, not my dispute, they're still required to send you notice to provide you provisional credits in a certain time period, depending on the type of transaction it is. They go off to the merchant, do their research, collect their evidence, come back and say, we're taking that credit back, or we're gonna let you have that credit. For that dispute, it's either valid, fraud, or it's not. And if they take it back from a provisional credit, they have to monitor your account for 2 weeks. They have to give you notice before they debit it out, in case it creates it itself. All these things in the back office and behind the scenes that these banks have to monitor, keep up with, and then prove to the auditors and regulators every quarter that they've done that for every customer. That's where the CFPB comes in. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're in these banks every quarter, looking for every little thing they can do to make $1 off the bat and make a name for themselves. They've done a damn good job of it because they charge banks a lot of money for these regulatory infractions because they don't have a system in place today to track the disputes. Our third product is Fusion LRS, which is a data convergence for bank merger and acquisitions. It's the version 3.0 of the company I've had twice before, where we take all the data, check images, document images, all your loan documents and statements and all the historical data, and we convert that into our browser whenever there's a bank merger and acquisition, or we convert it into the new system of the acquired bank. So we've done that for approximately 5,000 banks and credit unions over the last 20 years. So as I said, our life has been spent doing data integration and automation. So at the end of the day, we're just technology geeks to this, like no bank back office operations. And believe it or not, it's not near as sexy as it sounds. It's well, we're wanting to get to, this is the cool stuff, right? The AI process, the agentic process, the things that we can take our automation and integration, kind of our machine learning we're using today, which is really cool, but not compared to this stuff. And we're going to start with a development scope of work towards the end of this year, focused on AI and bringing that to where we can completely automate the entire process for collections, probably and for dispute, probably start with dispute management, because it's a little simpler process to automate with the customer back and forth there. Our addressable market, again, 9,500 banks and credit unions. Well, we've got a $200 billion bank in asset size down to a $100 million credit union. Our sweet spot is between the $100 million or $200 million in assets to about 20 billion. All right, so that's called the community bank space, tier 2, tier 3 banks in the U.S. We don't go after Bank of America, Citibank, but we also don't go after the de novos and the smaller banks and credit unions. We just serve those community banks and credit unions that's in that space. And of those, there's about 5,500 banks and credit unions in that space. On the right-hand side, you're going to see some of our customers, kind of a NASCAR slide, if you will. The center there, customer count, we're up over 105 today for new customers on all 3 products. And on the right-hand side, those are the largest companies in the U.S. that do what's called core banking software. They provide the accounting system that runs all the banks, along with all the payment systems and everything else. These guys do not have a collection recovery product or a dispute management product. Before I started the company or bought the collection recovery product, I called the CEO of Fidelity or FIS, called the CEO and chairman of Jack Henry, as well as DCI, and said, hey, why don't you guys have this product? Right? Because I saw a need coming, I saw the economy, the environment. I just exited my last gig, and so they kind of gave me their idea about why these multi-billion-dollar multinational companies have those products in-house. Today, these guys, 3 of these resell some of our software and services, or not resell some of our software and services. So they're also candidates for an acquisition for us in the future. Kind of our secret sauce here is the fact that, the 2 good-looking guys on the left and the old guy on the right, we've all been together. Jason and I have been together the last 3 companies in fintech. Terry was the guy that I bought the Fusion CRS, the collection recovery product, from. He was the founder of that product, co-founder. His co-founder passed away about 4 years before I acquired the company. And so we came in, kind of updated the technology, put new skins on it, did some deep core integration. But together, Jason and I, along with 2 or 3 other employees, have invested $1 million in the company for our own money. We raised 2.2 from friends and family along the way during this process. As I said, I've had 4 previous fintech companies, kind of all in that same data access and integration space for banks, mergers and acquisitions. Sold 2. I was talking to somebody earlier about the Jack Henry building out on the interstate there out in Plano. Well, that was actually my office at one point. So I would fly out here from Birmingham, once or twice a week or once or twice a month. And then once Jack Henry acquired the company, That became one of their, I think probably is their largest office outside of Monett, Missouri today. I sold to Hogan Financial. I was giving this presentation for the first time back in February. And Ed, the guy that just left, is like, just so you know, he was lead counsel at Hogan Financial whenever we sold back in the day. I'm like, well, do you remember this? He's just like, no, not really. Because it's such a small transaction to him, right? Because that was a big company. It was a big deal to me. So the first company we sold was actually to the company Ed worked for. We find this out 20 years later, right? We first meet. So that's all I've done. I've been in this industry. I bootstrapped those companies myself. We did this a little differently, raising money. That's why I'm out here today with you fine people. We've done well since we bought the company. We've doubled revenue pretty much historically every year since I bought the company in 2021. We would have had a positive EBITDA this year, but we've kind of had $250,000. We paid off the line, the financing from the previous owner. So while we grew and grew, have a good focus on growth. 2025 is an investment year. Whether we raised money or didn't, we're committed to investing in the people in the process to continue the growth of the market. There's so much green space in front of us for dispute management. There's two competitors in the dispute management process. I think I've got a slide on this one. I'll come back to that, but it's the guys at the very top end of the market that serve the top 30 banks in the country, you know, Bank of America, all the guys you guys have heard of. And they just recently announced 2 weeks ago that they'd sold for about a 15 multiple, right? And they had 30, 40 customers, but it was about a $400 million transaction. You've got the very lowest bottom feeder in the market, which we see a little bit of, because when we sell to the smaller banks and credit unions, but they're kind of the low-cost leader. They don't have the deep core integration. They don't have the features functionality we have. There's a lot of opportunity for dispute management in this space, along with the collection and recovery space. We believe that growing through this in the next 4 years, our projections there are pretty good for financials. What we're offering today, the $1 million note, you're going to see kind of we're going to oversubscribe that, 20% discount, 3-year term, 7% interest. So money's to be using for sales and marketing. Obviously, we got a business development person to handle all the core companies that are reselling some of our products and services, but to really drive our products and services down into those companies. I have the relationships to get us in the front door, but we need somebody to work with them on a quarterly or on a weekly, monthly basis to drive in front of their organization. Then just software development and working capital for the AI piece and to enhance some of our other offerings that we're looking to do. So to date, we've done this little pitch four or 5 times since I guess February when we first started with 10 Capital here in Dallas. We have raised a total of $840,000. We closed on the Baylor Angel Network at 670, and that's their affinity fund as well as their Angel Network. We've got some from C10 and some others that have put in here in Texas. We did one pitch out in Pasadena, and I called my investment banker guy and said, we're not doing that anymore. They're going to stay in Texas. I like those folks. So they're not going any further left than Texas. So we got a lot of oversubscription there. We say we're going to do 1.3. So it's about $460,000. Possible exit. This was a slide I was thinking about earlier. As I said, the competitor in the dispute management space just sold to a large private equity firm, which if I was in that market up there in the top 30 banks, that'd be great for me because they're going to screw it up, right? We know that. The bottom guys, you know, they're trying to come up market, which is what they can do. They've got a pretty good product, but they're not fintech folks. They're realizing that it's a small banking community. Everybody knows everybody, and well, they got a 2-year head start on us. They've done pretty well. But so we put a multiple in here of 5 to 8 times. I think that's probably closer to 10 to 12, honestly. But that's what my guys recommend we do is 5 to 8. You can see the returns here on the investment. You know, who's going to acquire us? Well, hopefully it's going to be one of those strategic advisors, strategic companies on the screen I showed you, right? Jack Henry, Correlation, CSI. We've turned down several offers already from some venture capital, private equity guys that want to get in early and get it for nothing. And you know, we know what we have. We know we've done this before. We kind of know where we're going, kind of the playbook there. So we're not interested in that. A strategic software provider. There's a lot of those in the market. They're probably owned by private equity, but they're the kind of guys that hold it, right? So they're not looking to flip it. So they own other products that are complementary in banking to our products. So that's a good acquisition candidate for us. We know we talk to those guys weekly as well. Of course, private equity. there's always an opportunity than the large, software aggregators. We actually turned down an offer. We didn't really get their real offer because they're crazy, but there's a big company in Canada called Constellation Software. It has like 1,200 companies or something, 70,000 employees. You know, they wanted to get us in because they've been a great things. They have a couple other fintech companies that we could have resold to their customers too, but we just couldn't come to an agreement there. In closing, again, great revenue growth. We continue that over the next couple of years. We got over 100 customers today. One thing I did mention, our contracts was typically 5 to 7 years. It could be 3. I negotiated one in the back of the room today for 24 months because the bank said they already spent too much money on Jack Henry stuff. So we've had 4 previous exits. Our team has worked together. We have a large addressable market, and we've raised 3.2 million already. I'll stop with that. Everybody there.
So what happens if the regulatory body gets dozed out and shut down? I thought there was some talk about goes in there all the way down.
Well, so the CFPB probably should be.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's not the that's an ungoverned regulatory body, right? They don't report to Congress, they don't report to the Fed, they don't report to anybody. So, but the real regulators, the OCC, the FDIC,
That ain't going away.
that ain't going away ever. When you have a change of administration like the one we just come from, and previous to that, they come in with really heavy regulations, and really heavy-handed regulations. So we see M&A stop. Right? We had 180 merger and acquisitions in the banks. Last year, we had 0 new banks start in the last 3 years. We got 28 on the books already this year in new banks and 180 something acquisitions. Right? So it's just, you see how the administration changes, the laws, the regulators change their focus in the banks to make money and make deals. That's a good problem. Any other questions?
Cybersecurity is in place, protecting the money and information protection.
So all of these are, today, they're on-prem at the customer side, are connected to their data center secured network to a hosted center. Okay? So that's all on the, so we use obviously the AWS. We got our own, we haven't got a SOC or SOC 2 yet. We're working through that. But the onus is on the bank of where our configuration or contracts are set. For credit. A lot of credit unions, a lot of banks want all the stuff in-house still. On there, then you've got some that are getting more and more comfortable, like, I don't want any service. And fintech's a great market to invest in because, one, the multiples are good. We're in the segment of fintech, unless you're in payments, which is a higher multiple than we are. We're in, like, fraud, security, and delinquency collection. That's one of the higher multiples of fintech. Questions? All right, that's our.
We're at that stage where I'd like to capture some interest from you guys. If you could, we'll go ahead and put the phone number up there, the mobile number. If you could log in and give us a feedback on the last 2 presenters, which ones would you like, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate those. And we'll then give ourselves a time to do that. I've been 2 numbers of 3 and 4, but I see a lot of really intensive dollars. And what I've come to discover when we did this with the QR code and put it up there, people would take a picture of the code and they would just start typing away like this, just typing away like this, giving us all the feedback we weren't going to get. And when we got to the end of it, we looked up and there were 3 people that actually, out of 30, that actually typed in our information. They're all cheap. So I was just curious about that. No, but we appreciate you doing that, giving us feedback. It really helps us a lot to know who to follow up with. We did have a presenter. They needed to move to another time, so we're not going to go through them today. They are a group that is launching a series of SPACs here in the U.S., and we do have some companies that are looking to go public, especially on the life science side. So we thought that would be a useful thing. So if you still want to get it out, we're going to reschedule them for a future event. Come back and talk about how they work and how they sponsor SPACs and get that out there. So we see a lot going on. With that, I'd like to take I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank our sponsor, the TriNet. I want to thank our sponsors that will be coming back from Focal Point, and want to thank all the partners that helped us, Kurt, Chuck, Ed helped us, and all the other people that are around the room. Keaton, great, thanks for all the support that you gave us there as well. And want to thank you guys for Rocky for doing such a great job in putting this together. With that, I want to take a next 15 minutes to do some more networking in the room, and then at 4:45, if you could, join us at the Gastro Pub over at Legacy West. We'll be having a happy hour there. Love to have you come over and try the Gastro Pub wine as well. So we appreciate you guys coming out today, and want to go ahead and have a little bit of networking time before we break. But is there any questions before we break?